And
Yeah.
what I want to start off talking about is, why did you go to USC?
I went to USC because it was the best choice, the only choice. Growing up in the 80s in Southern California and watching those John Robinson teams with Marcus Allen and those guys and Ronnie Lott, it was a no-brainer. No-brainer to go there.
And what was the recruiting process? You're a unique dude to have on our show, because you not only went through the recruiting process, you're still sending kids every year through it yourself and guiding them through it. And you've seen the changes that we have had with recruiting, and just talk about what the recruiting process was like, you know, back in the dark ages for us old farts.
Yeah, that was the 86 recruiting year. I believe I was recruited by Ted Tollner, who was basically on his way out after the bowl game in late December. And then they hired Larry Smith. And I was still committed, because I wasn't committed to the coach per se. I was committed to USC and the tradition of USC. And Coach Smith started recruiting me. And he told me he was going after this Samoan kid in Oceanside, California, who ended up probably being one of the greatest linebackers ever play there, and that our recruiting class was going to be a pretty strong class. And, you know, it was a no-brainer to go to USC.
So what was when coaching changes happen? There's going to be a lot of people watching this that weren't really around to even watch the Trojans play back then, but what was the transition like from Ted Tollner to Larry Smith? Because Larry, despite whatever, you know, happened at the end, had a lot of success early on at USC.
Yeah, he was a straight shooter. Back then, it was called the Big Ten guy. I believe he came off of the Bo Schembechler tree, and you know, he just came into the house, told me how he was going to use me, what he thought of me, that he was going to be hard on me, and he was a disciplinarian coach, and he just brought a toughness to SC. In my first 3 years, we were fortunate to go to Rose Bowl 3 years in a row.
I mean, there was a lot of success. I mean, that, you know, Larry was a huge upgrade. I mean, the Trojans were playing pretty damn well early on, but also playing, you know, at USC and being from Los Angeles. We have Chris Claiborne on. We've had other guys from LA on our show. And what is the impact? What has the impact of USC been on your life?
Wow. I'm a Trojan through and through. My grandfather raised me as a Trojan, took me to Trojan games. I can remember them playing in the Coliseum, the University of Arizona, when I was a little boy, and Marcus Allen rushing for 100-plus yards and being the big back he was. So I've been a Trojan since a kid. And then when I started getting recruited in high school, it was like a no-brainer. I mean, I took my trips and I showed interest in other schools, but no way I wasn't going to USC.
You're a fixture. Yes, CJ, for those that don't know, CJ Pollard is Marv's son, who we love dearly. And
yeah. Young man.
Yeah, you know, CJ is just from day one. CJ's everybody's. Everybody loves CJ. Not so much the dad. The dad, I don't know. You know, he's all right. But what I was going to ask is, you're a fixture at USC. Have been a fixture at USC. You care about USC, and you've seen the football program over the last couple of years. Maybe, you know, I don't know if turmoil is the right word, but there's been some disappointment. But what have you seen since maybe the Holiday Bowl with USC, with the new coaching hires? Have you seen any differences?
Yeah, I've seen a step in the right direction. I think the athletic director, Mike Bone, started with his hire. I think Coach Helton and Coach A.D. Bone got together and they revamped the staff a little bit. And I think the direction they're trending upward. You know, I think they got some surprises for the country, not just the Pac-12, the country. The talent is there. The roster is loaded. So, you know, I think this is the year 2020. They're gonna do some good things once this thing gets back rolling.
Mark Culkin is with us also.
Yeah. Hi, Marvin. Thanks for joining us.
What's up,
Hey.
bud?
Yeah, man. It's good to see you again. So I'm going to ask you kind of a tough question, and it's not asking you to throw maybe the past regime under the bus, but we've all noticed the difference with Mike Bone and Brandon Selsnut and the new athletic department. Why was the previous people in place so hesitant or reluctant to go the route that we're doing now? It seemed like there was more of a circle the wagons type of thing going on. What changed, or why do you think they had it under Lynn Swann and Pat Hayden before him?
I think what happened was you had a glimpse of them winning with that regime.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go back to the Rose Bowl year with Darnold having the breakout year. They won that Rose Bowl. They beat Penn State. I believe the following year they follow up and they go to the Cotton Bowl. They won the conference championship. A great game against was that Stanford they played that year?
Yeah.
Up there, they beat Stanford. I think they had a 3-game winning streak versus Stanford at the time, who they struggled with before that. So I believe they really thought that they were turning the corner back to us being that national powerhouse. And then bam, we have what was that, the 2018 season, the 5-win season, and you know, and then everybody, you know, I believe that administration didn't want to go into panic, you know, and they wanted to give it another chance with that staff and that regime. And that's the reason I think for the slow change that year from the 2018 to 2019 transition.
Okay. So
yeah.
I've always been, and again, this is my view looking in, because, you know, you get to hang out inside Heritage Hall and talk amongst the, you know, the power base.
Right.
There's a large group of people who are seeing a kind of a culture change or struggle going on within the program. And okay. I just want to make sure, you know, I'm not off base with that. I saw you nodding yes. So was there a culture struggle going on between remembering who USC is and how important the football program is, and with other people maybe in the power structures thinking we need to focus our energies elsewhere and not make USC just a football program?
I can't say the word. I don't know if the word struggle is appropriate.
Okay.
I was around Pat Hayden. I was around Lynn Swann, and now I've been around Mike, the Holiday Bowl specifically, and a couple of meetings with him. And they all want to win, and they all want to win bad, and they know how important it is to win at FC.
Yeah.
The two before Mike, actually, you know, they played at USC. So they, you know, you can't doubt they know what it feels like and they went on to have good pro careers and be powerful men off the field. But Mike, I mean, I'm telling you, my first meeting with Mike and talking to Mike, Mike is a dog, man.
Right.
Mike wants to win. Mike, if you give Mike a helmet and some shoulder pads, he'll do what he has to do. Mike's a straight shooter. I mean, he's my kind of guy, and Mike is going to do fine there. The whole athletic department. Mike he's the guy, man.
I'm in 100% agreement. I love what these guys are doing.
Yeah,
so just to follow up on that, before Mark calls up or Blake asks, I was having a conversation, you know, with the father of a 5-star kid that went to another school, who had conversations with Mike Bond before they chose another school, and he's on 100% on board with what you're saying, Marv. You know, even he's like, you know, this guy is going. There's like no doubt in his mind that the football program is going to go in a direction that is maybe, you know, is maybe going to surprise people to the level that it can get to with the right backing from an athletic department. But anyway,
right.
No, I was just going to finish off by saying, you know, it seems like it was a fresh perspective, some outside visions coming in, because USC does have a tendency to be a family, and they keep everything in the family too much sometimes. So
Yeah.
To me, I am just stoked to see what's going on, especially behind the scenes. And you're starting to see that and talk about it. I can go on forever. Blake, please interrupt me.
Yeah. A key and his right-hand man, Brandon.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, you have a conversation with Brandon, he's one of the most brilliant brains around. Brandon's smart, savvy, smooth,
competitive.
And sprinkling just the right amount of arrogance, and I love it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. So they're going to be fine from an administration standpoint. It's just we got to put some good product on the field, and we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Blake.
Hey, Marv, Blake, nice to meet you, man. Thanks for coming on.
What up, Blake?
So as Scott said, you're a USC fixture, and a couple minutes ago you were talking about some of your times in the Coliseum as a kid, and then obviously later on, and as a dad, and all of it together. What is your favorite Coliseum memory?
Good question.
Wow, my favorite Coliseum memory would have to be my freshman year. My true freshman year, Eric Alfolter makes the catch for us to win the Pac-12 championship. We beat UCLA, and we go on to the Rose Bowl. And I think that's what started our that tenure, that class started our success. Rodney Peete ended up being a runner-up Heisman candidate the following year. We're back in the Rose Bowl, and we get the number one recruit in the country, Todd Marinovich, who takes over for Rodney Peete. So it all started with that moment, that catch, that questionable catch now that probably would go to instant replay that he juggled, but that's a catch for me, from my vantage point.
Yeah, I've watched it 100,000 times. It's good every time.
Yeah, for sure. And Marv, so you had your day, of course, at USC as a player, and then you raised CJ, and to have CJ there, like, what was that like for you as a dad and as a former player?
It was a proud moment, man. Proud moment, something I never would have dreamed of. He worked his butt off in high school, positioned himself to be a 4-star recruit, and get recruited by several schools. But again, he had Trojan blood running through him, and he wanted to be a Trojan, So he enjoyed the process of recruiting, but he knew that he wanted to play for USC and wear the Cardinal and gold. And the proudest moment I've had with him there, him graduating, he actually participated in 2019 ceremony and cap and gown and got his degree. And that was the biggest accomplishment, man. Watching him do that, and and then when he did play and he had a little success, and he's forever thankful getting a career start against Texas. But he's had some good moments,
Here's our high-tech producing.
Oh man, that was fast.
Look at that.
Hey, there's our graphic right there.
There's CJ and Mark. We got a bunch of those.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, forever Trojans, man. Both of us, forever.
Yeah, every now and then I bump into CJ on campus, and he's just so outgoing, so magnanimous, just a great person. I mean, he's always willing just to say hello and how you doing. Might come from good stock, so.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll give Mom a little credit too.
Blake, did you have another question?
Go ahead, Scott.
Well, I was going to ask, I'll put a hypothetical out there. What would the impact of Chris Claiborne be at the University of Southern California if he was able to be a part of that football program?
It would be a great impact. It would impact not only recruiting, it would impact coaching. Chris is a great coach. I've had the fortune to coach with him on the 7-on-7 circuit for about 3 years. I know him personally. We're good friends. Traveled out of town together. We're buds. And I'm a little biased, but Chris is a football. His IQ of the game and the way he teaches defense is valuable to any young man in the SC program. And he would be a big asset to the program.
And to follow up on that, what I just, for me, in looking at it and knowing you and knowing Chris and you guys are really close with Willie McGinnis, and just that whole thing you guys have going on is really, really cool. That relationship that you're all from LA. Well, Chris, we'll call from Southern California, LA, whatever we want to call it, right? And you went to USC, and you guys have this bond that is, you can't help but notice it when you guys are together. And just what is that? You go to USC, you're from LA, and then you also have that a part of your life. I mean, that's just got to be pretty cool. Just talk about that relationship that you have with your fellow USC players.
Yeah, Willie's my former teammate. Me and Willie bonded as soon as he was a highly recruited guy who basically came in to replace another great 55, Junior Seau. Willie was the second guy to take on the 55 and, kept the tradition going that Junior left. We bonded off the field, and we had a 25-year friendship, like a closeness. I've been to every Super Bowl he's played in, been to every event he's done and been a part of his life. And to watch Willie play a big brother role to Chris when he basically handed the number to Chris, 55. I believe there was another guy before Chris. And Chris just take that number and run with it and win the Buckets Award. They did justice to the number. And Willie's one of the pioneers along with Junior of the number. So just a proud moment to be around that. Another great Trojan that hangs out with us is like a brother is Curtis Conway. And I can go on and on with the guys. Rodney Pete.
Mark Carrier.
Mark Carrier. That is like my guy. He was a year ahead of me. We played against each other in high school. He went to Poly. I went to Banning. And it's one of my guys I looked up to. Another reason I wanted to come to USC and play with Mark. And I was a safety in high school. And I knew that Mark was going to be there at least 3 years, and he redshirted. So, if I didn't redshirt, I would have to wait or compete with him. And I ended up playing corner. I had to get moved to corner, and that worked out for me as my career. But, Mark, I watched him his Jim Thorpe Award-winning season. I was a part of that, and on the field with him then. And he's an amazing defensive back, one of the most hardworking guys I ever played with. Earned everything. 10 years in the NFL, Rookie of the Year. What can I say? And coaching Adoree in high school. And then, as you know, Scott, he goes on to win the Thorpe. To be connected to the Thorpe as a player and a coach, I mean, just the irony of that.
That's rarer than the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Marv, do you have a favorite teammate that you played with at USC?
Whoa, a favorite teammate.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
that's categories in there. There's the player, and then there's the funny guy favorite.
You get to choose. That's what's the best
Get to
part.
choose.
Oh man.
Or you can tell us both.
Okay. Man, how do you not say Seau? The guy brought so much energy, and we were on that defense together because we were both. I was a redshirt freshman, and he was a sophomore because I think he had to sit out his first year. And we were in a package together, the dime package and the nickel package. We ran on the field together, and we would just look at each other and say, it's our time, let's make a play, And Junior was fired up, his energy. So I would say from a football standpoint, he's one of my favorites. From a teammate standpoint, Willie's crazy. He's a crazy guy that let it go all the time. Curtis Conway, more quiet and smooth. But, yeah, those are some of my favorite guys.
Do you have any good Willie McGinnis stories that are suited for television?
Oh, wow. I don't know if it's suited for television, but
tell it anyways.
Yeah, I mean, Willie's just a guy. He's going to give you 110%, and he expects 110% in practice, in games, off the field. Like, Willie is the same person. You know what I mean? And, hey, it's worked. Look at him now. He's almost a Hall of Fame broadcaster now, So he's my guy, man.
And he's really good at what he does, at what he's doing now, too. I mean, it's like he's really good.
Great.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you ready to talk about 1988 and how come nobody was able to tackle Tony Rice when we played Notre Dame?
You're talking about the 1 versus 2 game, right?
Yeah.
That was hard, man. I don't. The guy was pretty good. I mean, I'm not gonna say he was Lamar Jackson, but He was pretty good. It was his day. Tony Rice was pretty good, and we were hyped for that game, man.
I know.
I don't know what happened. Tough game.
That was a rough one. How long did it take you guys to get over that, or at least you personally?
I think we were still not over it because we went into the Rose Bowl like we still had everything to play for, and we went in to play a tough Michigan team, and we didn't get that done. So, you know, we lost 2 games in a row after going undefeated the whole season, and both winnable games. And you know, if I can remember, I don't think it was we didn't go in overconfidence. It's just that Notre Dame game was such a letdown. You know, like, wow, we had it. There was so much hype going into that game.
I remember.
Like, so much hype that week.
That game, is playing Notre Dame and especially going back to South Bend, is that experience as amazing as a football player as people talk about?
Yes. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure the stadium has improved now, but back then the locker room was very, very small, and the fans are right up there on you. And it's in October. It's very, very cold, and it's just like I was involved in a play in the '91 game where I recovered the onside kick that, you know, they didn't give to us. It happened right in front of Lou Holtz, and he talked the ref into that it was Notre Dame's ball, and it wasn't. I had the ball. I'll still say it till I die, you know. And it was a play that would have put us back in the game because we had momentum. Yep.
I remember.
Yep.
All right. Now we're going to go over the Serra aspect of this whole thing, because you CJ played at Serra, you coach at Serra. And so there's been a pipeline of Serra football players who have gone to USC. Can you just throw some names at us so people can realize how ridiculous the talent has been at Serra High School?
Yes. It starts with well, you can go before the Robert Woods era.
Yes, we will. Dejon Harris.
Dejon Harris. You got the coach, Dallas Cowboys coach, get his name, Chris Richard.
That's right.
Chris Richard. Then you go in Robert Woods, Marquise Lee. Then you go Adoree Jackson, Rasheem Green, Elijah Wan Tucker, Jalen Green. Down, I said Deontay Burnett, Rose Bowl hero. Okay, then you get into CJ, then you get into Wale, then you get into after that, those guys. I feel like I'm missing somebody right in between that.
I'm trying to think too.
I'm thinking maybe John.
Yeah, I don't want to slight anyone.
JJ, thank you.
JJ,
Johnny Jackson, J3. Got a bright future, hard worker, just like his dad was. Maybe a little faster than his dad, a little stronger, a little bigger, but his dad did great things at USC. But yeah, Johnny Jackson. And now you got a guy I coach that I'm super proud of, and I know he'll do great things. He showed people last year a little glimpse of it. Max Williams. Max Williams is going to be a great nickel there. Great nickel. He's a good player.
He is a bulldog.
Yeah, and they like him a lot up there.
Nobody. Yeah.
Marv, for people out there that only saw Adoree Jackson when he was winning awards at USC and now in the NFL, can you describe what he was like as a high school athlete?
Man among boys. Adoree was just phenomenal. You know, one of the top California players ever to play in California. You know, just he is what he shows. Hard worker, very athletic, great balance on the field, great jumping ability, explosive, fast, quick. Nothing he can't do. He easily could have been a pro wide receiver if he worked at it. If he wanted to play slot receiver, he could have. That's how good he is. If he wanted to play nickel corner, he could have, you know, just mastered outside corner. So that's who he is. And just freak, you know. And he hasn't even scratched the surface as a returner in the NFL yet. I think that's coming. You know.
Are you finding right now there's a little bit of a lull or Serra tends to have a really talented roster, but it hasn't been there over the last couple of years. Is it, in your opinion, why do you think that's happening?
I think the shift in the talent being spread out. Kids are exploring different programs where we would get a lot of athletes in the mid-2000s. We had a run of from 2010 to about 2016 where we were pretty much getting our pick of the litter with kids. But, you know, it's more competitive. Bosco's program and facilities have improved a lot. Modern Day, they're doing their thing down there. You got Long Beach Poly, they're going to be a powerhouse. You know, and kids aren't afraid to venture out, go to the valley, or you know.
Mm-hmm. You touched on something. You were talking about the facilities at these schools. Is that something where maybe some of the Serra alumni, present company excluded, could maybe do a little bit more to help? Yeah, that's a great pitch that I'll piggyback off of. Yeah, you know, and the guys come back and they help. Woody, Robert Woods has helped. I know Dory and our head coach Scott Altenberg, they got some things in the work, and you know, our facilities will improve, and they got some things in the work. I think this COVID-19 thing has delayed some things. Sure.
But we're a school that we work with what we have, you know. Because there's worse out there. We don't have the best facility, but we don't have the worst facilities. And we worked, and you know, kids come to Serra for the small atmosphere. The student body has always been small. Even when we had, you know, 70 team roster, the student body is still small.
Right.
And you know, we put kids out, so we're proud that what we do in the small space we do it in, you know, and you know. You got to compete against the big boys, and that's Bosco, Modern Day, Corona Centennial, and those programs have great success too. But
the one thing about Serra, the one thing about Serra that just has always been just impressed me, and why I've always loved Serra so much, is that it may be small, you may not have the money Modern Day or Bosco has, or even the entire Trinity League for that matter, but you got a bunch of people there that really give a hoot about the kids, and guys who aren't getting paid a boatload of money have been there since day one, since I've been coming around there. I mean, that's impressive in itself.
Yeah, you're right. I'm charging up. I got a little low battery.
Okay.
There it goes, right there. Okay. Can you guys still see me?
We can hear you.
You look like Josh Ann.
Okay. Let's go. It says, I can't. Okay. I'm here. I don't know if
we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay. So let me see how I get the screen back.
I'll see if I can do something too.
There should be a function. It'll say start video.
I see something that says your microphone is unmuted. Your video is stopped.
Start video.
Then I see. Try that one.
Start video.
Yeah.
Go.
There you go.
There we go.
You're back with us.
How many old guys does it take to make Zoom work?
Now you're muted.
The answer is we don't know, because the young dude has been fixing it all.
You're good.
You'd be good.
Okay. Yeah. What was the
Yeah,
question? What was the last question?
About the people at Serra, and they don't get paid a lot. There's not a whole lot of hoopla and this and that of attention, but there's guys that have been there from day one since I've been around there, and we're going back to just the year before Woody. Woody was a sophomore, so I've been hanging out at Serra for a few years, and the people there, they're still day one guys there.
Yeah, I mean it's a great place to be. There's a sense of loyalty to the campus and to the staff and the administration there. It's really a fun place to be at, Coach. I'm sure schools have come at our head coach and offered him more money and to move, but he's a Serra guy. His dad coached there, and he's not going anywhere. And when you get a leader like that, it's kind of hard to even entertain, leaving him for other opportunities, you know. And in this day and age, with so much movement and movement around, I'm just not used to that. You know, I guess I can say I get it. People do it, and but that's not my deal. So I'm happy there. I'm happy with the development of the players, and happy to see them move on from Serra and do great things.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not used to all this movement either. I come from the era when the Long Beach Poly was just the dominant program in Long Beach. When Banning and Wilmington, when those two teams played each other, that was a game to look forward to.
Absolutely.
You don't hear about it anymore. I know with, you know, Long Beach Poly, in their case, you know, they have, you know, their alumni who want to give, but they can't. It's a Long Beach Unified School District rule. So it's making, you know, the Serras and the Polys and those older programs that have been around it's making it much harder for them to compete with the Trinity Leagues of the world. And that's not a knock on the Trinity League. It's just a matter of fact. And
I think we may have lost Marv.
Yeah. Blake bugged out somehow too. There's Marv.
There you are.
Yeah, we just need to get his volume back.
What do I need now?
You're good. You're good to go.
Okay.
You're good.
I think Blake will be joining us again now too. But
okay.
But you know, they talk about there's, you know, I don't know if you want to call loyalty, whatever you want to call it, because I think that's what it is. And you have a 5-star quarterback who's going to be a junior this year, in Malik Murphy, one of the most talented kids that I've seen. And I'm sure he's been there's been schools that have come after him, but just talk about Malik Murphy for us, because he's one of my favorite players and one of the favorite kids that we also cover.
Yeah, Malik is he is what he is. He's a big time quarterback with a big time arm, and I mean, he's got the keys to the car, and he came into our program, and everything has pretty much worked and been what he came to do. You know, he grew up around the program. I've known Malik since youth football. He was a Carson Colts. He played for the Carson Colts, which I was affiliated with, and CJ came from. I know his family real good. His dad, Ron, his mom, Alicia. And, yeah, like you said, Scott, Malik gets other programs coming at him and telling him what they can offer him and things of that nature, you know, as far as schooling and better facilities. But, you know, the guy's loyal. I can believe he tweeted earlier in the year, you know, quit asking me, am I leaving Serra? I'm not leaving Serra, period. You know, and Malik could be at, you know, any program. He's going to get recognized. You know, he's that big time of a talent, you know. Yeah. But since he's been there, he's been all about his brothers, his teammates, and he's a great student. And he interacts with the whole student body. Everybody loves Malik. And, you know, that's it.
Hey, Marv, have you seen any of the guys that are committed to USC? Have you seen Kalen Bullock or Zamarian? You know, some of the DBs in Southern California. I mean, even the guys that aren't committed. Sierra Wright, Jalen Smith, any of those guys? You guys play against Alamany?
Yeah, we did play Alamany, and I do remember the secondary. I don't remember specifically which player. I know they had a lot of talent. So I'm imagining one of them is the kid you were talking about. I'm familiar with the Sierra Wright kid. I know him personally, him and his dad, and I've watched him come out of the Baldwin Hills program and watch his development. He's a stud. He's a good football player, comes from good stock, his dad. And he's going to be, you know, if SC has a shot at him, he's a big-time player.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the kid out of Mater Dei, Jalen Davis, I believe his name is.
Davies.
Oh,
yes.
Davies. Yeah, I watched that kid when he was in the 9th grade, and he was playing nickel in a 7-on-7 game. We played him, and he had an it factor then.
Yeah, he did.
You know, so I'm not shocked at his ranking or all the success he's getting. We have a kid over at Serra who's, you know, expected to be the next great DB, Devin Kirkwood. a 6'3", 175-pound kid that can track guy. He's pretty good. He has a chance at the next level. He's going to be he just recently committed to UCLA.
Yep.
But he's going to be a kid that, he's going to keep blowing up the better he gets this year if he has a great year.
Marvin, can you talk about the 7-on-7 circuit? How do you? What's your opinion on that? How do you work with it?
Like I mentioned earlier, I was a part of it when Chris Claiborne was running his organization, the Frat Boys.
Right.
And it's good. It's good for football as far as like off-season training and with the skill guys and the timing with the quarterbacks and the receivers and the secondary, being able to communicate with the linebackers and all that stuff. I love it. Now, when it gets to the other stuff of maybe the social media talking and when it gets a little out of hand and it goes beyond football, it's kind of challenging, because I'm old school. So, I just want to play ball, but, it's there. You got to adjust to it. Like we all got to adjust to the times and you just got to adjust to it. So I respect it. It's there. And, I'm very aware of the programs that exist, especially the Southern California programs. I'm friends with all those guys. I know what they're doing. The premium program ran by Big James and his brother Milvon. Great program. I love what they're doing for the kids and the kids of the inner city. The Ground Zero program, Hawkins and Coach Brown, and they have most of the Glen Empire kids. So, they're all trying to help kids and help their brand. And I tell you one thing, if they ever came together and did one team, I don't know who would beat them. If it's Texas or Florida, but
I mean, really, that is actually, you'd have to get some linemen from somewhere. But if he has all those skill positions, because the best quarterbacks in the country are always on one of these teams.
Yeah.
The best defensive backs, you literally could field a national championship team of skill players.
Yeah, because like DJ and Bryce. I mean, like they were ranked 1 and 2 the last 3 years, and we had them right here in Southern California.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now we got Miller Moss and Jake Garcia and that group of guys.
Played against Miller and Jake, and both of those guys are big-time players.
All right, so what's the latest with are you guys talking about getting back into practice mode at Serra High School? Is there any talk at all about that?
Hopefully. We're wishful thinking just like everybody else. And, safety is the number one priority for these kids, and I'm sure that's the parents' number one priority. But, the human realistic side, everybody misses ball. Everybody misses high school football, college football, pro football. And but we just have to be safe and know that it's going to be safe. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's temperature checking. I don't know if that's just social distancing, because it's hard to actually socially distance in the sport. But, I'm hopeful and optimistic that we're going to find a way and we're going to play some ball in 2020.
It's like Will Ferrell said, all right, everybody, hug your parents, your friends, kiss your grandparents, and manage to stay 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Right? Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm missing football, man. Missing coaching, missing the camaraderie with the guys, and just missing it,
Everything's a lot more optimistic this week than it was last week, though.
Yeah.
The outlook is much more optimistic.
Yeah.
I mean, there was even, I retweeted a friend from, she's the head cheerleading coach at Calabasas High School. And apparently she got word today that she can start scheduling practices starting June 28th.
Right.
So, based on that, that's just more positive news to piggyback off of everything that we heard yesterday. So,
hopefully, man. Hopefully this NBA comes back first, and then baseball. Hopefully it just keeps going.
Hey man, I'm gonna throw it out there. I think not only is USC and Alabama going to be playing in Dallas, I think they're going to be playing in front of fans. So,
wow,
I'm going to put
that
it
would
out.
be big.
Well, look, Texas is
big.
really leading the way right now, and I think by the time we get to that point, you're going to have people lining up at the doors wanting to get in. So,
Yeah,
you know,
that would be big.
I might be out there in left field, but that's my gut instinct right now.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I'm eager to see what the Trojans got, man. I think we got the roster.
Well, they definitely got the guys in that team, and you know, just in the small sample size that I've been able to see with Todd Orlando and Vic Soto, Craig Niver, and Dante. I mean,
Coach Dante.
Coach Dante.
Oh my God, that's a personal friend of mine, Dante. Man, that addition was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, big time huge.
Yeah,
You know what, Marv? You know what's crazy about it is that I knew it was huge, and I didn't know how huge it was until weeks after he was hired. It's insane, his reach with recruiting.
Yeah, the energy and vibe right now is just nuts.
Yeah, Dante's a big time coach, man, and he's gonna have those boys going big time. And you know, he's got some good groceries to cook a good meal. You know, Talanoa Fungus, one of the best safeties in the country. Trust me when I say that. That kid will play on Sundays. Isaiah, another big time safety. I love the corners. I love the big corners. Number 6, ITS, and OG, of course, and Chris Steele's a dog. You got Max and Greg, and Greg is the vet of the group. You know, Greg. The other guys will probably get the front page, but Greg is a productive player, man, when healthy.
Mm-hmm.
He almost looks as big as a linebacker right now. I mean, he is
big.
Yeah,
he's huge.
he's athletic, very athletic.
Looks like
I always thought his best position would be running back, but you know what?
He was good. I mean, that's not silly talk at all, because he really was good. Hey, how much can you tell us what's going on with CJ?
CJ's good, man. He's being recruited by a few Mountain West programs, and he decided Utah State. So he'll be an Aggie.
Nice.
Yeah, he'll be an Aggie. He's signed, sealed, and delivered up there. He just finished up some little grad courses at USC, and he's ready to go. You know, he's just awesome. I wanted it to be his moment. Whenever he wanted to tell people, I'm sure he's told his personal friends. But he's just been working out. He's been working out with Adoree since Adoree's been here, and he's been hanging out with his boys, and he's ready to go. He's ready to impact. I've had a few conversations with Coach Anderson, and you know, they see a big time fit for him up there, and like they say, it's just last dance for him. You know.
Should we edit that? Should we edit that part out about you saying he's going to Utah State?
If you like, because he hasn't announced it yet, but that's where he's going. I'll tell you guys. You know, you can edit it out. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's awesome. That's good to hear. Like I said, every now and then we
bump. He signed still. They open up with a Pac-12 school. I told CJ, I said, you know, you get a chance. They have road games at Washington, which he was there last year. There's a road game at BYU where he kind of muffed the pick, and they got overturned. He had an interception against BYU last year. So I said, dude, you get a chance to go back to the same place and get another interception and make it count. So, you know, he has 2 Pac-12 schools, Washington and Washington State, on the schedule. He's familiar with those programs, and Boise State, of course, BYU. So he has some good competition on the schedule.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, Jack Sears just announced he's going to transfer to Boise, so he might be playing against Jack.
Okay, so he might see Jack. Yeah. I know the UCLA kid that also Utah State picked up, a D lineman, the kid out of LA High a couple years ago, and he portal transferred to Utah State. So, and he knows some LA kids on the roster, so it seemed like a good fit. So he chose them. Did
he get some advice from Jalen Green on possibly choosing Utah State for that reason?
Yeah.
transitioned there very well.
I think he was in communication with Jalen once Utah State started recruiting him. Jalen went up there and had a good year up there. I believe he caught 40, 45, 50 balls that year.
Right.
Put himself in position to get a tryout with the Rams, and I think he made it up to a certain point, and now he's played in the XFL. So he extended his career just by getting that one season at Utah State.
Yeah.
And the one thing I can say is, for both of those kids, they both got the degree at USC. Both had 4-year experiences at USC, and they're Trojans, and they love it. And when I talked to Clay in our exit meeting, Clay was great. Clay was great about it. He loved CJ, but just being realistic, you can only put 2 safeties on the field at a time, and who's on the field, you can't argue it, you can't argue it. Like I said, I have admiration for Talanoa's game, and great player. I love Talanoa every game I've seen him play in, and Zay as well, Isaiah. So there's business decisions, and there's emotional decisions, and I think he made a business decision. I got my degree in my hand. I want to be on the field every snap.
Marv, you just mentioned CJ getting his degree and that side of it. What can you tell us about what he's interested in and what he wants to do after football?
Oh man, he's interested in commentating and sports, and at some point, I think he's done a couple of little weekend internships with Jim Hill and Channel 2 Sports.
To that, absolutely.
Yeah. He built a relationship with Amber Theo Harris over at Fox, and she's formerly of NFL Network. He took her class, and I'm in communication with Amber all the time. She loves CJ, so she's mentoring him in that area. And CJ's really an IQ guy too. I see coaching in his future too when it's all said and done. Kind of like that Chris Hawkins thing. I see coaching in his future. He really understands the game. He's been around a coach all his life, So I see that in his future. If he's not going to get into broadcasting and football analyst.
Hey, that's awesome, man. I'm NBC4, so local TV is the way to go. It's the way to do it.
You ever on with Mr. Grogan?
Fred Rogan?
I was asking Blake. No, I was kidding. Okay. There was somebody that called in one time on Fred Rogan's show and said, "Okay, Mr. Grogan," or say he was like, "I'm going to tell you."
Some of the viewers on Fred's show are pretty funny.
Yeah. But I was going to ask you, Marv, do you know anything about Todd Orlando's defense? And if you do, are there any players that you see might really be showcased that maybe weren't previously?
I don't know anything about Todd's scheme. Only what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a talk with Mike Bone and one of our exit meetings. I was just chopping it up with Mike. Mike's really excited about Todd. He was really excited, and I know Clay is. Clay is really excited about him, and I hear he's kind of like got that Mike Bone mentality. He's a dog. That's what I hear about him. I hear he's a dog. So I don't know. It's kids I'm pulling for that I want to see in that scheme. I'm a Hunter Echols fan because I see something in Hunter big time. If they can let him go, a little bit. I see.
We love Hunter.
Yeah. I love EA. I'm a big EA fan. And I hear a lot of good stuff about the kid ready to go for it, as far as talent, from a talent standpoint. But, I'm a little biased. I want to see my guys, Max out there. I want to see him making some interceptions like a Jane and taking them back to pick sixes.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
All right, you guys.
I was just going to say, you were touching on some of the players. You brought up the number 55 earlier and the tradition behind it. Do you feel Drake Jackson is worthy of that number, or does he have the potential? I mean, he just finished his freshman year.
Yeah.
And not just from the
I feel Drake Jackson has something. And the ironic thing about Drake, he has a relationship with Willie, too. Drake has showed the country what he can do, and he is as advertised. And I'm good friends with his dad, and I see on social media. Nobody, that I can see, Drake Jackson is working his ass off for his second year. He's working off hard. I see him out there working out with GB, Gary Bryant. He's out there playing DB. He's keeping up with GB in the drills. So this kid, is a freshman All-American, and I think he can wear that 55. And I'm sure Willie would bless that, but that's a Willie question and a Chris Claiborne question.
And we've spoken to Chris about that, and the reason why I kind of led you down that road with that question is, and you did perfectly with it, it's how Drake prepares off the field that deserves that number, because we see what he can do on the field, but it's how he gets there. And Chris Claiborne was on with us. He talked about,
he's an animal, dude. Drake played his butt off last year, dude, and he got injured, banged up, and then he came back. That kid said he's healthy all 12, 13 games. Look out, man. Look out for him.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, so you as a we'll call it old school Trojan. I remember when USC hired Graham as offensive coordinator. Man, I got a call from Chris Claiborne, I think 30 seconds later. Man, he was like, man, we're RBU, man, that kind of stuff. And just, what did you see? Just in the end, after you get over the fact that maybe USC's not going to run the ball 35, 50 times every game or more, whatever, but you're going to put a bunch of points on the board. What do you see this offense? What do you see the direction of Graham Harrell's offense going? Is this an offense that could be hard to stop like Oklahoma?
Absolutely. And if you studied it, like me and Willie went to most of the game. We caught about 9 games, and we're there on the sideline. If you look at it, they mixed the run up pretty good. I knew that they threw it around the yard, but they mixed that run in there pretty good. With Vavai and Stephen Carr and the big guy, Steph, and the quick guy that had to play due to injuries. They mixed up. But, you got 4 pro wide receivers out there. You're going to have to throw it around the yard with this guy of quarterbacking, Slovis. Hey, you throw it around the yard. It reminded me of, Darnold, throwing to Deontay and Juju and those guys, because Amon Ra, come on, one of the best receivers in America. Tyler Bonds, very consistent his whole career. Stud wide receiver. You got Drake, the freshman phenom, and then you got the other guys that are right there vying for spots. Cal, John Jackson, Brew, big time. So, and Gary Bryant coming in. We're in great shape at that position.
Man, they really are.
Yeah, we're in great shape.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, we're not going to keep you out forever, but before we do end, I want to do something with you where we get together in person and we break down all the DBs, the guys USC's got committed, the guys USC's recruiting, and we'll have some film. I'll figure out somebody who knows how to do some stuff to make it work so we can have a good display and all that kind of stuff and chop it up about that.
Problem.
And then if we can have, at some point, the sky's the limit on what we can do with this. So that would be a lot of fun for me on a personal level.
No problem, bud.
Well, hey, I hope to see you at Serra High School with you guys practicing ball soon.
Yeah. Hopefully really soon, Scott.
End of June, maybe.
Yeah, hopefully, man. I'm ready.
Coach Marvin, thank you so much for coming on, man. This has been so much fun. We get to talk every now and then when we see each other at practice, but, to be able to talk to you today and to flash back to some past games and what you experienced at USC then and what you're experiencing now and your experiences as a father, I'm just glad you were able to come on and share that with everybody today. So thanks again.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Marv. Great to meet you, man.
I'll hit you up soon.
Right on, guys.
Take care.
All right.
All right. See you
Perfect.
guys.